Ross will be back as GM. I think, first of all, I think in general, in sports organizations, stability and continuity are a competitive advantage. And that's a general statement that doesn't apply unequivocally. But when evaluating, you're not evaluating on a series or even a season. And in Ross's case, the body of work, to me, is undeniable. You know, there's over 8 seasons, whether it's the last 4 having the 6th best record in the American League, whether it's 3 of the last 4 years in the postseason, building out great resources, hiring a great leadership team that's been successful both internationally and domestically. We need to get better. Ross needs to get better, but he's done a good job and certainly deserves and put us in good position next year to be a very good team, and certainly deserves that opportunity to continue to lead the baseball organization. We need to do a better job scoring runs. We need to be better on the base pass, and there needs to be a higher level of transparency and communication with our players in our planning process and preparation, game planning process. You can be specific about the decisions made and the players acquired just on last year's team alone, whether it was Kiermaier, Belt, Chris Bassett, the guys that he has put together, that in the context of people signing free agents and trading for players. I would argue that the players we added to last year's team were, he did a very good job doing. So every single GM makes mistakes. Again, to criticize without context of saying, I'm going to go and look at all 30 GMs and all the series of decisions they made, there is no GM that's perfect in decision making. That's just the reality of making decisions about human beings. And you look at the portfolio of work, and again, I think the results show that he's done a good job. I found that, I knew the game plan. I knew the purpose behind it. I was aware of it and knew that the goal was to bring Kikuchi in to turn over the lineup and get, to get some of their left-handed hitters out of the lineup for better matchups later in the game, which actually worked. But I didn't know when it would happen, so I found out at the same moment in time when John walked to the mound. I was in Schneider's office the day after we got eliminated when we flew home with Don Mattingly, with Schneider, and with Ross. And Don Mattingly said he was kind of miffed at, the reaction to the game planning and the preparation. He said our planning and preparation was identical for that game as it was for the 162 games during the season. The process wasn't any different. But I think that what has come to light is both from the information and the planning, by the way, which was designed by and led by John Schneider. But we have to be more clear with our players, more transparent, do a better job of communicating what that process is, and then most importantly, that there's a line of demarcation when it comes into the game, that the decisions lie with our staff and with John.
Back to the Berrios and stuff, and related to Ross's comments last week, do you think that he should have owned the decision more as an organizational one? Because I think from our perspective and the fans' perspective, it felt like he kind of put the onus on Schneider a little bit. Yeah. And I just wondered, does that create awkwardness between them two, or can you?
I know there's no awkwardness between the two because I've been involved in enough conversations with him over the last couple days. I think Ross was giving an in-depth, window into the process, and then, also clarifying that there's a clear line of demarcation when it comes to in-game decision making. So, but I would say this: when it comes to accountability and it comes to results and outcomes that are disappointing. We're not ever looking to assign blame, just like we're not looking to take credit for something that's individually successful. And when something goes wrong, accountability lies at the top. It lies with me, responsibility. But we're not looking to say that John Schneider made a mistake or Ross made a mistake or who made the mistake. We made a mistake. It didn't work, and we'll need to learn and get better from it. But we need to be okay making mistakes. I'm more than confident in John Schneider's ability to manage a Major League Baseball game, and as I replied to Rosie, I'm more than confident in Ross's ability to run a baseball operation. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need to get better. It doesn't mean we didn't make mistakes.
You acknowledged making a mistake. I just wanted to clarify, are you referring specifically to the Berrios decision when you said that, or was that a more blanket
Well, there have been
statement?
many mistakes. So
okay, there was one where you said specifically, I think, we made a mistake. So are you Do you consider that decision in retrospect to be?
I actually don't. I mean, I think that it didn't work as perfectly as it could have. 2 ground balls, that a lot of could have plays could have been made, but they just a couple inches here or there. If you had said to me we're going to score 2 runs, I hold the Twins to 2 runs in that game before the game. Didn't say anything the way it transpired, but said we're going to hold them to 2 runs. I would have thought we were going to win the game. So it's not why we lost. We lost because we didn't hit, because we made a base running mistake. Those are the reasons we lost. So I've never seen a front office pick up a phone and call down and make a pitching change or, make a substitution within the game. Like, that person needs to have the strength and, power and confidence to make those decisions, which John does. And so that's the line I was talking about. This season was a grind. It was not ever easy. It was extremely frustrating, and it was challenging. I'm not sure why. We still won 89 games, but I guess like you, Steve, I've been in the game 32 years, and I can't remember a season that felt like it was more of an effort. Now, I take away a little bit of a positive from that, because there were 6 or 7 other teams that had high expectations and high payrolls that didn't even make the postseason, that didn't win 89 games. Some of the biggest markets in all of North America that went home. And our guys, our players, and our staff found a way to persevere. So I find some positive, within that. But it was tough. It was frustrating. We had 3 or 4 players that fell significantly short of what we projected, and that's what made it, made the year, among the many things that made it frustrating. That was what was frustrating. So, but we need to take a deeper dive. It's not just my opinion. Again, that's not my area that I'm dealing with day to day, and see what the work tells us, and then build a strategy off of that. And I think that'll be for Ross to talk about in the next couple months. Even in the preliminary conversations, I don't expect a dramatic philosophical shift in payroll next year. I expect us to stay in the same area, and that we can support that for now.